This is Kate Bennett interviewing June Pfeffer Gieselman at the home of Gene Warby Harris in Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin on September 24th, 2019. We'll be talking about June's life growing up in Pleasant Prairie and her memories of attending Dublin School. So I was just going to start by asking when you were born and where.
Oh, I was born November 29th, 1922 in Woodworth, Wisconsin.
Awesome. And where was your childhood home located?
1 year in Woodworth, and then 2 or 3 years on McCune Road, and when I started Dublin School, when we lived on McCune Road.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you lived there, you said 2 to 3 years?
Pardon?
How
Yeah.
long you lived there? Okay.
About 3 or 4 years, and then we moved to Tobin Road.
To Tobin Road.
Still went to Dublin School, 1st through 7th grade.
Awesome. And then when did you leave Pleasant Prairie then?
Well, then 7th grade, 7th, 8th grade to junior high in Kenosha.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you lived in Pleasant Prairie. How
12, about 12 years. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
12 to 13 years. Mm-hmm. Wasn't Pleasant Prairie then.
All right.
No. Uh-huh.
Okay. So what years would that have been that you attended Dublin School?
What years? What?
So you started what year at Dublin
1928. I was 5. I would be 6 in November.
School? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember how many students were in your class?
Probably 30. We'll have pictures and then we can see.
That's true.
Sitting in the room, in the classroom. Uh-huh.
Do you remember your teacher's name?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Miss Curran and Miss Heidi, Miss Smish. And then I found a Valentine with a music teacher's name, and I do not remember the music teacher, but she's signed it. And another teacher was Miss Shulian, but I do not remember those. I just remember Miss Curran and Miss Heidi. And I have their signatures and so forth.
Did you have a favorite teacher?
Miss Curran.
Why
Why,
was she your
second,
favorite?
third, and fourth. Oh, on Saturday afternoons, Miss Curran lived in town, and in the winter, across the road, because of the weather, and I went to home on weekends to Kenosha. And then my dad and I would take the train and go in, and I took elocution lessons from her. But still, she became really close, second, third, fourth grade. So I've got little mementos of her I'll show you.
What lessons did you take? From her?
Elocution,
What's that?
speaking.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you have a favorite subject in school?
I always liked math.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you told me you remember your first day of school.
Oh my.
Why don't you walk me through that?
Oh, I can remember. Now wait, we'll get started that
Sounds
way.
perfect.
There I am. First grade. The dress I can remember was brown and the black thing, and my parents took me, so they stayed in the back of the room all the time, and I'd keep turning around, seeing if they're there. And they were there. And once I turned around, and they were gone. And I thought, wow, here I am, alone. And
How
Yeah.
did you feel?
a little wondering if they were going to show up and pick me up, or I'm going to be here forever, or what. Yeah, I remember the day real plain.
Can you walk me through kind of what a typical school day was like at Dublin School? How would you start?
Well,
the
we
day?
have 4 grades in one room. So when it's your turn for class, you march to the front, and there are chairs in a semicircle up in front, and then the teacher's there, and the rest of you better tune out, because this is our lesson. Classes went forward like that, and then they had their lessons. and the rest of you, then you were back at your desk and working when the next group went. Four to a room, four in the upper room also. So you learn, concentrate. I learned I could do one thing at a time because you're hearing everything else, you're watching. So yeah, but we learned. So we learned a lot.
Cool. And so there was the 2 classrooms upstairs, and then
They were all upstairs.
yeah.
The 2. Yeah, up there.
And then what kinds of things would you do in the lower level? Did you have lunch down there, or no?
At your desk.
At your desk.
Oh man, listen, some didn't have good lunches. It was depression, but we always had a good lunch. Then the kids wanted to trade with you, and I feel sorry for one kid because he'd have ketchup sandwich, so I'd let him have my. We always managed to have a nice lunch, and they knew it. But some kids didn't have much. Chili sauce sandwich, maybe, whatever it was made. It was hard times. You brought your own lunch. Sometimes, it took a long time before I had a lunch bucket. You had a paper bag, and sometimes you didn't. My mother would take newspaper, and you read it real nice, and she'd fold it up and tie string on it, and you opened it up, and you had your lunch. We had our cloakroom. I love that little cloakroom. And you kept your clothes there, and then above you kept your lunch, and then you could go get it. And but downstairs we had plays and things like that. And PTA meetings were always down there. And this remodeled kitchen we're going to see, that was where the good, potlucks and party things came from, like that. Valentine's, we made boxes and stuff, and then we ate together. We had picnics. When school was out, we always had a picnic out beyond the school in the field, like, or woods. We had nice picnics. Oh, yeah, a lot of imagination. I was just telling, we had one merry-go-round down the corner of the school, down the corner property, and the rest you did yourself. You thought it up. Teacher, wow, it was interesting.
All right. Did you, so you said you did plays and things. Did you enjoy doing that kind of thing?
Plays?
Yeah.
I don't know I don't think I brought a letter along, but I was just starting to tell. I was the mother in one play, and I found a little note that Betsy's Story, so I got Valentine from Betsy's Story, so you could see, was one of my children. But it must have been something to do with Navy or water, because we were supposed to have little midi blouses, You know what I mean? And I was listening at home. They didn't have enough money to pay the rent, and I wouldn't tell. And so I didn't get a midi blouse. And when we got the night to perform, the teacher nearly took me out, but I had the main part. And I just said, "Oh, I thought you were talking about mittens." I knew better, but I've never ever even told my folks. I just knew that they didn't have the money for my mother. Well, they would have. She would have found something and made it, like they did everything. But I didn't tell. I just never did ever tell them.
Wow.
$22 rent. Sometimes they couldn't pay it all. Boy, it was something. But everybody was in the same boat. So your friends nobody had anything much, so you really hung together. And but Dad always had a garden, or we were on the farm over here, but then a garden no matter where we were. So we always had plenty. To eat. Nothing much. We didn't have a car. No.
What was your walk?
Well, first time we had a car, because Uncle Chuck had a little car, little coupe car, kind of truck coupe thing, and he gave it to my mother so she could take me to school. And Mom didn't know how to drive. She had to learn. And Greg, your dad, his little head could just about stick over the dashboard, and Mom picks me up one day and backs down the hill over there, and we went straight in the ditch. She learned. And then by and by, like I said today, you like walking with your friends, and along the way. The places were few and far between. But
What was it like walking to school in the winter?
oh, cold, cold. You know, when we were on Tobin Road, we had a floor furnace. So we sat around that in the morning getting our socks on and our long underwear and everything, getting ready, because you're going to get shoved out the door and you got to walk. And sometimes there were snowbanks, and I brought Diane and Margot here one time, and they go, "We thought you had a long way to walk to school." And there was, it was, no telephones. You never knew if you got, they never knew if you got there or not or whatever. But we'd always get all warmed up first and get the leggings and all the stuff on and all walk together. All the kids we would come to school together. And it was cold winters.
So were you close with the other students then?
Pardon?
Were you close with the other
Oh,
students?
yeah. Oh, everybody stuck together. Sure.
Did you have a best friend?
Oh, sure. Esther Vischer was but they were all like my friends. But the girls, she lived across the road, so we were together a lot in the summer, and all of it just was interesting, because you've been home for 5 years now. You're meeting all kinds of other people. And Jean Carnes next door. You've heard from the Carneses, somebody Carnes. I just felt like mother to my brother and her, because I just kind of watch after the two, because I want to tell something. So when Greg is like second grade, and we had a fish bowl in the corner thing there by the library, and he decided to put his hand in there and do something. I don't know, but got in big trouble and marched into the library, and the door shut, and had to stay in there for a long time. But I was like, don't hurt my brother. Yeah, it was, we three, we always went together, and then the rest always joined up, and you went in groups. There were only two mean ones, the Palmer boys. Will stick your tongue in the ice if you don't mind, that kind of stuff when you're skating. They're rough, but I've got Valentines from them. They were mean. Sure enough.
What was your brother's name?
Gregory.
Gregory.
Greg, we call him Greg. Gregory Joseph. Just like him.
So you were at the first year at Dublin School. Do you remember anything about that new building being built, or if it was exciting?
And it was just 1 year old when I look it all up now. 1 year old when I came. So see, no, it was so nice. Our desk was so nice, and like I mentioned to you, we had our tablets and pencils and things, but we couldn't keep them in our desk. So teacher had this room, and I got to be in this room a couple years ago for the first time, behind her desk where you stored all these things. Because of the Depression, she would ration out the tablet paper, and we had to write on both sides. And we only got it for what it was. You had nothing to sketch on or draw on or waste any paper or pencils. And that was something. And I got to look, I wonder what's all in that storeroom. Then I told you about hectographing. Do you know what hectographing is?
Why don't you explain it to me again?
Well, your pans, like jelly pans, and they're only about this high. Whatever it was, they had in those pans, a jelly-like substance, whatever it is, I do not know. And the teacher would write with indelible pencil the lessons. And that was the master copy. And then you laid that on there, and then that absorbed that, and then you could take their other paper and roll off the other papers for the assignments for the kids. Oh, and I got to stay after school sometimes and hectograph. Perfect, it was really neat. And there's the thing. Kids today will say, didn't you have this or didn't you have the heck? We didn't even have a telephone. Just you did hectograph for the lessons. So they didn't need to write every page for every kid. You just had a copy, and that's the way they did it. Can you beat it? I don't know what the substance was. Boy, but it was fun. And you rolled it off, and it was nice and dark, and you had your lesson. You'll see a photo where the lessons are on the blackboard. The same blackboard there. 2 years ago, I was there, and the same windows were in the building as when it was built. Now they've got new windows. Same windows. Never think of it. Almost 100 years. If I would be here next week at this time, it would be 91 years to the day that I started school.
Wow.
Think of that. Yeah.
And you told me a little bit about the handwriting competition. Do you want to,
About who?
or penmanship?
Oh,
Can you tell me about that again?
I'm gung-ho on. Look at my dad's penmanship, and I like good penmanship. We're losing the art of writing. But Ercole Costabile could write beautiful penmanship. And he's always ahead of me. So we go to the fair one time, and I'm going to beat him. He beat me. His penmanship was just beautiful. And for a young man, always, I don't think he tried, or it's just natural. And but I thought, man, he's pretty good, but I think I can beat that. And I liked learning. Boy, I couldn't wait to write. And my penmanship was legible. Yeah.
What was the boy's name?
Ercole, Ercole, Costabile. And he had a sister, Lolly. I don't remember where they lived or anything, but they were in the school.
Okay.
Yeah, they're Italian.
You said Ercole.
L-E, Ercole. I wonder where they're at. Don't you wonder? Because but he was so nice about it. He didn't think, oh no, he wasn't. He was just very humble, but just such. I couldn't believe how, because the rest of the guys, Tom's got very good. You print. You're like Diane. You kind of print cursive and printing and the whole deal. Beautiful penmanship. People are pushing buttons, and you're going to lose the art of writing. My dad used to say, if you live long enough, you'll push buttons and swallow pills. And that's it. That's what we're doing, isn't it? Right.
Could you describe to me what the classrooms looked like, how they were set up?
The classroom, our desks, you'll see on the picture. They're all in a row. You'll see it on the photo. Maybe you want
Do
to
we
look
want to
up.
get that out now?
Do you want to see now?
Sure.
This one I got for Tom. This is the one thing. Now I'll open the gold box. There's where the treasures are. There we got the school, huh? Some of this I brought for Tom and for you. You know who, don't you?
Yeah, you said this is
Matt
Matt
Rasmussen.
Rasmussen and Dan
1917, I think.
1911.
Okay, here we go. In the classroom.
Wow. And where are you?
And this one, I'm over here. Here's my brother. And I'm over here. See how we're all in a row? Here's the teacher's desk, and then over here is where you set up the round thing. I think, what does my mother say on the back? 4th grade? Am I 4th grade, 3rd grade?
4th grade.
And Greg
Gregory,
is 2nd.
January 1932.
See that? My mother was good about writing. See, Tom, see your dad sitting there? Great. Here's me over. You want to see the others as we progress? Okay, here's grades 1 through 8. That's everybody.
And can you show me also where you're in this one?
Think so. Hey, it's easy, not easy. I could rattle a lot of them. There's Gene Carnes. I have to find me back here.
Okay.
And Greg is being funny. There he is. Here's Miss Curran and Miss Heidi, our teachers, and this is everybody again. Look at Greg here.
How do you spell the teachers' names?
Miss Estella Curran, Estella, Curran, and Alice Heidi. I got them on different signatures that they've got, H-E-I-D. Where's Greg here? Here he is. Here's Greg. And here am I. Here we are.
Okay.
But here's Gene Carnes. I could name a lot of them here. Greg's best friend, Howie Stam. Then Howie Stam, when my dad died, came to the visitation in Kenosha 40 years later. Can you imagine? And he never left Tobin Road. He died down there in the same place, born and raised in 5 years ago. All these, so these are all the children. I brought this along, Tom. You know this picture, but I just brought it along to show Greg and I, because I love those shoes. Yeah, that's it. That's a good one. As we grew up. So now, I hit that. This is, I just brought this along because Tom's never seen it. And you'll see where I made something in school, and I think I got the idea from here. One time, my folks said, no, I'm 10 years, here's my mother's writing again. We're going to make your silhouettes. Here's this light bulb, and Greg and I got to sit still. And they did a pretty good job. Look at that. Greg, age 8, 1933. Well, I got the pattern underneath. I can remember when they did this. So then I'm in school and I do Abraham Lincoln, and you'll see. Pretty good. So I wanted Tom to see this. Now, what do you want to see next?
We can just make our way through.
Oh, I've got lots. Here's when my dad presented this to me. Let's see. Social studies. I'm drawing an ear. Hey, Tom, you could look at that. You're the artist. Look at, I got G+, very good, because I'm learning how to write. June Pfeffer, she didn't do too good here. She only got 54. Now, here's the report cards. But the award booklet I just, became aware of again. So I read all these books, and so Estella Curran, now there's a teacher's signature. See all these things? And then my aunt made the little bookmark for me. Aunt Barb made that. What did she say on the back?
It says, "To Junie, the little bookworm, from Aunt Barbara."
And I don't want to read a book now for anything. I mean, it's got to hold my interest. It's got to be for real, or I don't want to read it. See that, Tom? Look at Aunt Barb with her pretty. So I got that little award. Now here's what amazed me. I wrote about the flag. Look at this. Look at me. I'm in cursive. 4th grade. I'm going to town. But the front, all about George Washington, and going to see Betsy Ross and make the flag. It's I knew more then than I do now about it. Look at this, the flag, Tom. Look at the front part. General Washington, and what did I write, his aide or something?
Talking about William Penn.
And it got his name, and I don't know that name. One of his assistants. How they went to visit Betsy Ross and the star. She made a star. And they wrote, and I'm writing about, they didn't want 13 at first, and then they did. Wow, it's really interesting. I'm really learning. Right here's the. What's this? Here's Dear Unknown Friends. I don't know what this. Kenosha, Wisconsin, October 13th, 1932. This is the first time I have ever written to you. We have had 2 pictures taken. The last one we were sending to you. This is an unknown friend, huh? The weather is cold here. Wow. You do not go out there to play baseball every day. I go to the Dublin school. I wonder what school do you go to? I like to go to school. I like to play at recess and noon. I know how to play games. Do you? Okay. There are 24 children in our room. How do you like that? There we had it. I have a lot of nice playmates. I will name some of them. I did not see the Jean, Virginia, Betsy. There's Betsy. Eleanor would be Holmgren. Esther Vischer, Corrine, Alice, Alan, and Hildegard Spitzer. Write to me sometime. I'll close now. Your friend June. Wow. This we're right on both sides of the paper. See, can't waste any paper. So here's things. Oh, I made something for school. You are invited to our school society Friday afternoon at 3 p.m. Upper grade girls will serve the mothers with tea. And my mother wrote March 18th, 1932. Wow. Tea party at Dublin School when June was in the 4th grade. Greg was in 2nd. My mother was really good to write. Here I got 100. What's that in? Language. Got that. Geography. See all these things? Hey, Leah. You like to look at all that? You will. Here, I'm drawing something. Says good. Geography. 6 different. Something between. Look at here.
So
Reading.
Stuff in the printing thing?
Huh?
Is the purple stuff?
Want
in
to see
the
this?
printing thing? No.
See our tablet?
What's the purple
This
on
one?
that one?
Okay, here's hectographed
Okay.
paper with hectograph. Geography. Oh, Tom, here's where I got poor. And you're such an artist. I'm trying to draw Viking ship. Dumb thing. Wonder what that was about. It wasn't so good. Here's some more with a hectograph lesson. See, we got the it's really neat. Look at all this. Here's social study. Got 90. Well, now what did I draw here? I never was an artist. A banana, an orange, a lemon, and a grape. Uh-oh. Mountains. Happy Easter, love June. So I was writing to somebody, draw pictures. Here's where we're learning, see, our cursive. What else we got? All these papers, you know. Here, look at, wonder what this. To Mother from June Pfeffer. Isn't that something? Yeah. Yeah. The village blacksmith. There we learned. And we learned how to, by Longfellow, and then you learn your name and this how to write and then indent and do your paragraphs. We were learning that. So I wasn't doing too good. It said rewrite. Isn't that something? This one too, well, it looks good. It's kind of arithmetic, see? I always like arithmetic. Now what am I doing here? This is silent reading. Very good. March 1st, 32. The old spiders, telegraph wires. Whatever, silent reading, whatever. Look at I'm getting a little better. Geography, 75. Rewrite. Look at, but I was getting there. What the Great Plains. Look at this. Oh, here we're learning about maps. And I still like that. If I hear of a town or a city, I'm going to go I look it up in the atlas right away. So I get in my mind where people are. So look at here, we had geography, the coastal regions, and they learn all this stuff. Some people don't even know where the states are in the states. You know what I mean? I know where, I've been in every one almost. Writing, here's writing 5. I'm learning. I like it. Language. 100. Ooh. Right, so what's this? Something. Health. Oh. Yeah. So something we must have kept track of everything. Did we drink our milk, eat a vegetable, cereal, wash before meals, have a handkerchief, 9 hours of sleep, take a bath. That's all. Hey, Leah, you're going to love it. So, yeah, all these, and on, girl. There's no end. So you get an idea. Here's my Lincoln. Silhouette of Lincoln made by June in her 5th grade. Not too bad, is it? But I must have got it because they were doing this at home to us, and so then I'm going to school and make Lincoln. And here's Mother's Day. And I wrote, look at my penmanship then. See, it's really, I'm just gung-ho on penmanship. Made this little thing. So, wow. Oh, the more you look, the more you'll find. I have not even looked at every bit of it, but because here we got this. Oh, just my mother wrote June and Gregory's drawings and school papers and put it on the back of that, I guess. So maybe there's some of Greg's in here too. Who knows? So there we are with enough of that. but you get the idea, right? Oh, my little thing here from Miss Curran. Here's my report card. Did you want to, first grade, you want to see what one looked like? Okay. How they did it. And this was Miss Mish, see? Now, I don't have anything from her except this. I always knew there was Miss Mish, then Miss Curran. But where these other two teachers, the music teacher, come in, we had a lot of music. So this is when I passed to second grade. So I knew Miss Mish was my first teacher. But I have nothing written by her except that, probably. Because second grade should be Miss Curran. Aren't they something?
Yeah.
Miss Curran was second. So Miss Mish, I did remember. But no, I don't have any. But this one was really good, Miss Curran. This is the first grade book.
Okay.
Now listen. It's interesting. I didn't take very good care of this. 45 cents. Is this my second one? I think it says 45 cents. Second grade reader, The Field, the Eugene Field. June Pfeffer. They were 45 cents. Look at them. So this second, and then this is the language. So, and here's my dad writing again. Dublin School, Kenosha, Wisconsin, Rural 1, Box 131, Tobin Road. We live down the road. And we have all this. Oh, but if you want old books, I have my mother's history book and Great-Grandpa Stein's book. Think about that, it'd be about 180 years old. I've got it at home. Those. Here's the autograph books.
So when the autograph book, when would you guys sign these?
What?
Was this like at the end of the year, or
Oh,
when did you do
that's
this?
who I liked. Guess who has a loving heart, and I'll always do my part. Wesley Gitzloff. And I got more Valentines from him. Dear June. So 1935. And I must have really liked him because one day I'm married, about 30 years, and my phone rings. And I'm vacuuming or something, and somebody goes, "Hi, this is Wesley Gitzloff." My golly. And it was my cousin Kenny fooling around. And I put in that other little box this thing. So we must have always talked about him or the family or something. And we're off to a dinner, and the dinner thing there was something that says Wesley's. It's like Wesley's place. And so we looked it up, and he just died about 5 years ago, and I did not know. I knew he was the youngest of 16 children. It said and it says on the obituary thing, and they lived. Well, here's Dublin School. They had the farm up on the hill, first farm up on the hill. And see, when we lived on 29th Avenue, his married sister lived across from. I knew they were a big family, but I didn't know it. And he had big brothers, and Lester, and I don't remember the others. And see, then when they had to work on the farm, they didn't come to school. The big brothers, they have to work, and then you come back. All the boys that had to be. They had to work the farms and things like that. So. There's a lot of them in here, but my teachers. Now here's Bertha Link. Here now here's Mrs. Ebbers, the music teacher that I don't remember. May you continue to enjoy music and all the beautiful things as much as you have with me. Your music teacher at Dublin School, February 28th, 19th, and I do not remember her. Here's Miss Curran. Now, if you want these things, see, shere's Miss Curran, 1934. Miss Heidi with the temper. Temper. if scribbling in albums affect, since she cures with the greatest of pleasure, I'll scribble in her brother, like my mother, when they were in grade school. And he carved their initials in his desk. They lived out, summers, so it was a school out there. And one summer, my dad got a job working at that schoolhouse, repairing desks, and he'd come home to tell my mother that he rubbed the initials out of the desk. Fritz Heidi, and here Miss Heidi. So we knew all the Heidis all the time, but she really had a temper. And
Do you
so
remember
here,
any stories of her temper?
about her,
Yeah.
yeah, she got my she jerked my. When we go to the school, you'll see we went up two sides. We had to go upstairs to get to the rooms. So the upper room was hers, and we're over here. And you had to say, "Excuse me," or else. You had, everything had to be really polite. So Greg decided he wasn't going to say, "Excuse me." Man, she jerked him out of the line and shook him up, and I go get your stuff. We're going home. I'm going to take care of my brother. Gene, you come. I'm always watching Gene and Greg. They did. We started down the road, down Tobin Road. Here she come with her car, and but I know we're going to go home, and then we'll see. So then they talked at night, but she had a temper. Charles Charlton, he's in my Valentine's, lived next door. Mother was very English. Charles was killed in World War II. He had a cute little joke. It was just cute. And he said to me, "You think we had deals where we had a little thing on Friday afternoons, little programs?" He said, "You think it's okay if I tell that joke? I think it's really fun." And he told it, and she went berserk. It was just a plain little joke about what's the difference between a bed and something else, or what, someone wets the bed does something else. Wow, that's out of line. So he got in big trouble, and I felt bad because I said, "We'll go ahead. What have we got to lose with her? She's something." And yeah, so it's all in there. And then what I picked out from the kids from school. But here's the teachers, Miss Curran and Miss Heidi. What the signed ones from them, and these are from these are from everybody and family, but these are from my friends at school.
And do you have one from Wesley?
Oh, I got a lot of them from
Yeah.
Wesley. But I parted with one there. Isn't that funny? It's like your first little friend, Mm-hmm. See, there's the teacher's signatures, see? Which is kind of important. So here's a little deal. And I wrote a note.
Spoon from Miss Curran to June. 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade teacher.
I polished it up before I left, and I looked on the back, and do you know what it says? I think I wrote there, extra pressing with coin silver. Tom, silver out of coins, evidently, on that spoon. And she gave me that, and folks have kept it for me all the time. And it's pressed with coin, extra press with coin silver. I never heard of that before. Coin made out of coins.
When did she give this to you?
Oh, probably 3rd or 4th grade. And not beyond 4th, because I moved to the next room to 5th, 6th. So, yeah, she got to be such a favorite. Sometimes she'd come on Saturday and have a little picnic thing, and we'd go, but don't tell the rest of the kids, And we'd go, and we'd be and she'd have a picnic, and we'd be by a little stream of water and violets, And we picked violets, and she'd tie them up, make a bouquet and keep it in the water so we go home and take my mother a bouquet of flowers. Just things like that. She was real special. And when I got to town and went to junior high, I sat across the aisle from her cousin. She had the name Curran, and I go, would you know it? She said, Stella? Yeah, it's my cousin. And we never let go of her, hardly. Like I say, then I took elocution lessons from her. You got to stand in front of the mirror because you hate to get up. You hate to talk to anybody. It's nice sitting down. But when you had to get in school, and one of my friends and in Lincoln School said, we had to get up and tell our most embarrassing moment. And she was so funny. She got up and I go, what are we going to say? I know what I'm going to say. She said, it's standing up here trying to say something. That was true. Yeah. So that's pretty much the general thing.
Okay.
I say.
So why did you hold on to all this throughout
I
all
didn't.
these years?
My folks did.
Your folks did.
My folks did.
Wow.
I should have some more stuff. I was that paper I cut out with I was telling you about the construction paper, but it'd be in here somewhere, because I saved a piece of construction paper, and it'd be 85 years old. And I got written on there, this is the paper I cut my hearts on, and I made a Valentine but it's in the middle of all this. It's just, I just like to look back and see how old the things and how, so then I think my dad has on here that he filed all this, I believe he said 1956. And we're visiting in Fort Madison, and it was a hot day. Well, what are you going to do? And he goes, I got a surprise. And he come out with all of this. They had saved it. So then I've saved it from then on. Yes.
Is it quite special to you?
Oh, yeah. And Leah likes all this stuff, and I'm glad of that because, and I had Margot, and I lost Margot, my daughter. She would have liked this. Diane, Ted's wife, thinks this is wonderful. Mom, give it away. Diane, I like seeing it or whatever, but how nice. Oh, my goodness, you'll be famous. I go, no, I'm not famous. I'm when I was up here and saw the school and saw what they were going to do, I talked to Diane about it. I've had these sitting in the living room, and I thought, what's good? Maybe other people can look at things and enjoy them like I have. And I thought about it because Margot isn't here, and so come on. Here, Tom, is Greg and Jean Carnes and Patsy Pfeffer and me and my doll. I just thought you'd get a kick out of that. Now, I'm 5 years old when I got this. See how Valentine's worked and everything? See, I just brought it along. But see, you'll find a lot of them, they work. They worked. Oh, here we go. Here's this little picture, so 1933 of that big. Now here's Greg. To Mom from Greg. You can have that, Tom. Here I'm 6. I taped these out if you want. Now here's Miss Shulian and Miss Harbert. So they were in school sometime or another, but I never had either one of them. And I thought this was fun because it says June and Gregory Pfeffer, Kenosha, Wisconsin, Route 1, Tobin Road, 1930. And this was the Rileys that lived on Springbrook Road. And Irene Riley and I were good friends. But she went to the Pleasant Prairie School. So here was Irene and Marilyn, Richard and Lawrence. And I thought it was cute because of a little thing and a 2-cent stamp. That's pretty something. Wow. Here I'm 6, here I'm here. So Katie wanted to see Matt Rasmussen from somewhere. Grandpa worked for Matt Rasmussen. So here's my grandpa and Matt Rasmussen. Katie remembers that big barn that my mother and them played in. It was the biggest building in Wisconsin, I think, at the time.
Really?
Biggest barn.
Your mother would play in it?
Oh, Uncle Chuck and Uncle Al would stay out there. It had a racetrack inside. See, he was big. And this one, Matt Rasmussen's stallions, taken by my mother's cousin in 1914. He had blue blood horses. Here's full-blooded horses, 1914. You were interested in that, so I wanted to show you them.
Thank you.
You can have one. I think there's a duplicate, and I'll let you have one if you want. Because you said you had a
you.
picture of the barn.
Mm-hmm. I can see the barn in the background there.
Can you?
I think that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, think about it. That's the barn. Uncle Chuck used to say, we like it out there. And my mother said, you never saw anything like it. And they worked for Matt Rasmussen. I found a postcard Matt Rasmussen wrote to my grandpa. He went to Colorado, and he's over by the Moffat Tunnel, and he's writing Grandpa a card after Grandma died. See, Grandpa worked there. My grandma died, and there were 4 little kids. My mother was 8, my aunt was 2, and the boys were in between. There's one there with my uncles. Maybe you got that. They're all
The children?
yeah.
are they?
My uncles, they're teenagers, and they're working with them. They have to work. Mm-hmm. So here's a little card. I just know what you want when I'm 6. But they're in there from every year from I'm 1 on. But I didn't know if you wanted anything with age progression or not. Now there you are.
Who's in that picture there?
Oh, it's like the big one. It's Greg and Gene Carnes, my brother, and Gene and me and my cousin Patsy Pfeffer and my doll. I've got the doll in the cedar chest at home. Mm-hmm. She's about 85 years old. Aunt Virginia made sure I got that doll. Then I wanted the buggy, And Grandma go, you always want something else. Well, I got a letter where I go, Dear Santa, I didn't bring that along because I'll never part with that. They saved all. Dear Santa, I need an ironing board and clothespins when I'm taking care of my doll, and I'm doing. I played for real. See, you had to use we didn't have TV and all. You used imagination. And so Mom would give me a room in the summer, like the summer porch. That could be my house. So this window would be the bedroom for my doll, and there was a stove over in the corner, summer stove, had that. And then I'd have a rocking chair and a rug, and that was my, played. And Esther Vischer, her dad he had the grocery store. And they had a big barn, so he'd give her a big corner of the barn, and that was her place. And we finally got the doll buggies. We played for real. We'd come visiting each other. We got to go home and give the dolls a nap. And it was fun. And then I found a letter, and I go, and Ruth Carnes, Jean's mother, Ruth Carnes, the next door, the Carneses were next door. She was over visiting one time. I remember sitting there, and I was going on with all she was taking. So, Santa, would you please bring Ruth Carnes something? I don't know what it is. She really likes that. All this, yeah. So here we are. What a mess, huh? Yeah.
So, is there one memory of your time at Dublin School or in Pleasant Prairie that you remember very well or very fond of? Anything else you haven't talked about?
About like what?
About your time at Dublin School. If there's like one really strong memory or just living in Pleasant Prairie.
Just mostly, what I've been saying all the time, just like that, because it was enjoyable. I liked school. If you didn't like it. But think about next door, or this way, were the Holmgrens, and he was the janitor, Ray Holmgren. over here was Catherine and Uncle Louis Johnson, Donald's aunt and uncle, and on the Johnson farm. And they had one daughter, Winifred. But that's where the teacher stayed in the winter. So we were over as a family visiting or anything. You got to see the teacher again too. You know, they stayed there in the winter, and especially, you know, if the weather was bad, you didn't get back. You didn't come back to town. This was all country. You couldn't get to town. See Margot and Diana laughing. You said your snowbanks were so high and you had so far to go. Well, from Springbrook Road was a long walk. Tobin Road wasn't too bad, and we were all together. And yeah, but so we got used to cold weather because you get home and you want to put on your ice skates. And back in Hardy's Woods across the way was the pond. That's when the Palmer boys would be over there, and then you were scared to death almost to skate. And you had to go in a tunnel under the tracks to get to the pond. I was always over there skating. Yeah. We did everything. Dad made a toboggan and a sled. Made it. You know, they get the runner. You could do that without a doubt. And we had tobogganing in Petrified Springs. Yeah. That's a little later. But Dublin, yeah, Dublin, we liked it. See, we moved from Springbrook Road. That was the farm. Tobin Road was, you had a lot of land and ground. You had garden in the back. But the farm was at Fred Beaver's. I told you Fred Beaver's farm, the Beaver farm. People, they owned it, you know, but you can, I think about it, my mother was so young. And you kept the house and kept the meal. Ooh, it was a big place. Now it's the church, the Lutheran church thing. Church and school. That was our farm. That was our apple orchard where a lot of that is. And then, So yeah, there's, but oh, how do I remember all that? Not too much before school, so that must have been an important thing to me that sticks there like that. Because the rest before that, not too much. So you started learning things or with other people, and then that made that. Yeah, how about that? That's it.
Wonderful. Okay. Unless there was anything else, or if anyone knows a good question to ask, I think, yeah.
Tom, nothing. You're listening.
I'm listening.
June, I was wondering when you played outside at recess, what kind of games did you play?
Yeah, you know, I remember the merry-go-round. You know, we had that. So I don't know. I don't recall what they did with us. We must have done something because we were outdoors and we had an hour lunch. And then, you know, that one time, oh my goodness, my mother didn't pack my lunch. We were still living on the farm. Okay, that's a first. And it'll be in the noon hour, and I'll pick you up. She had this little car from Uncle Chuck. And here's Greg with his little head sticking up over the dashboard. You know. And lunch hour's almost over, and she hasn't showed up. And I'm thinking, you know, you wonder what. And finally, the bell's going to ring, and here she comes. And Greg goes, little Eugene died. Greg's like 4. Little Eugene was my little cousin, Eugene Pfeffer. And we had been to Chicago on Sunday, and we were coming home, and there was a snowstorm in Joliet, and the baby had a cold, but he caught pneumonia, and he died on Wednesday. And then my mother had everybody we had a big kitchen over on that farm, and had everybody there afterward. That was a first with that. You'll see when we go to the cemetery. I thought, wow, and I remember looking down there like that and everything. You know, and seeing this baby, because I got to hold him on the way back from Chicago. But he had a cold. Grandma had him, and she goes, come and get him. And so late years, I said to my mother, how did Grandma feel about that, I wonder? But you know, there he was. He was about 6 months old, 7 months old. That was a first loss. But the games we played tag. I know that. And in the winter we were in and they must have had things, but that I don't recall, Carol, so much. But the merry-go-round, that was the only thing, the fun thing we had to play as far as equipment, you know, on the grounds. And Jean's got something.
When did you go to school? Like what months were you in school?
Okay, the day after Labor Day till the end of May. We were done. We went like that. So yeah, the day after Labor Day,
Okay.
and then our 2 weeks vacation, Christmas, and yeah, we didn't go to the middle of June or start in, and then it got too hot, and no, you just started. You knew that, and
What time did school start in the morning?
oh, that's a good one. I imagine around 8. Was that too early? No, they go 7:30 now, 8. I'm thinking 8 to like 3. And then we got home early, you know. I don't remember until you got to junior high and high school that we had much homework or anything. Or kids had jobs, chores, stuff like that to do, or we could go skating or playing or whatever. Think about it. I've got the first box that the radio come in. We go over to Mary Beaver's to listen to the radio. And you wrote everything because there's no telephones, not then yet. And at Springbrook, no bathroom, but Tobin Road, oh, wait, we got a bathroom in the house. You know, really, a big deal. And then we're in Tobin Road, and I'm pretty sure, well, we're going to stay in the country or we're going to go to town because Greg and I needed bedrooms of our own, see, like that. It was progressed.
You told me a little bit about bathrooms at Dublin School too.
Oh
Do you
yeah,
wanna tell
we'll
that
see
again?
them. We'll see them. Well, the first year I went, there was still the outside toilet out there, but when I think about it, must have been standing, or else maybe these weren't complete yet. So it's fun to go in there because see, the girls is over here on the left side, and the boys is over here on the right side, and down. And I went in them year before last. Just 2 sinks and 2 things. Yeah, just like it was. Right.
And
Amazing. And the same blackboard. The same blackboard that we learned on is over there. You people. I ought to move in the building, huh? With the new kitchen and hey, come on, I could do that. Live downstairs. Really?
Health-wise at school, did they give you medicine ever, or was there a health?
Oh, the health was the learning the health. It was never anything separate. Yeah, what did we do if we got sick? I know Greg and I on spring over on this farm we got the chicken pox. I got it first. My dad would walk through the field at night and come over to Dublin School and get math. We learned numbers off the cards. You know, your flashcards. That's how you learn to multiply and add and everything. Flashcard. And get all the lessons. And my mother would have Greg as close to me as she'd get it at the same time and get it over with. And so that was when you missed quite a bit of school. If you got scarlet fever, you were quarantined for 6 weeks. Nobody could come in your house. You had a red thing on your door. Thank God we never got, but we got chicken pox and measles but no, I don't know. If a school nurse come around every once in a while, maybe so. That's a good question.
Yeah, and we were wondering about goiter pills. Goiter pills?
That was back in the
Goiter pills?
40s that they
Could be.
handed
That
out
was a
goiter
big
pills
thing.
to all the kids.
Yeah.
Do you
Now,
remember?
Greg and I were born with rickets. Rickets meant kind of soft bones. Oh, no, that's just the opposite. Rickets. You have like a little soft bones and made like a little hole. You would hear him talk about that because we were always told. So we lived on cod liver oil. And so, I can swallow cod liver oil pills today. They're really good. I don't take any medicine. So we took it by the spoonful. We had to have it because it makes the bones stronger. And so Mom would sometimes she put a raisin or something on the spoon or something good. And so then we got used to it and we didn't think a thing about it. And I buy them today and have them in capsules. Doesn't hurt. And I got strong bones. So Diane and Margot say, why don't you go get a bone density check if you had such soft bones? So I go and the guy goes, were you born on the farm? And yeah. Did you drink, unpasteurized milk? I go, what else? We went to Carnes's and got the fresh milk out of the water thing in the cooling house, fresh milk, never pasteurized. He goes, my God, those bones. And I go, what's wrong? He goes, they're like about 50 years old, my bones. I'm lucky, and I'm very careful so I don't fall and break any.
And then, so I just wanted to figure out what years you would have been there. So you started 1928?
When I started school, it's on, my mother's got it written on the back of this little thing, and I wrote it on the back of the picture. So I was 5, and I'd be 6 in November.
And then what year then would you have left Dublin School?
Pardon?
What would have been your last year at Dublin School?
Okay, I was 12. I had to be. My 7th grade was my last.
Okay.
Almost went all 8 till we moved to town. So 1 to 7.
Okay.
So what? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 years old.
1934.
Greg was 10. Greg, yeah, he got in the upper room.
Were there any special festivals or parties that you would throw?
That's a good question. Because we're coming into town, I said to Tid, look at Paddock's Lake here. There used to be a big pavilion. And if you ever got to go there, it was pretty good. So Greg and Jean, Greg didn't really want anybody knowing too much, but he was pretty good, and they were little square dancers. Now, Miss Curran taught them that. Oh, they got so good, they get to go all over, and even to that pavilion. But I even got to go one time, and we were singing. We were so our music teacher, but which I can't remember her, must have been instrumental in that, and we get to go to Paddock's Lake and sing. So la la la, funicula, and singing and performing. Parties, yeah, they're, like I say, picnics and parties. Valentine parties, we fixed fancy boxes, and then the boys would find your box and eat. Sometimes you didn't want to eat with that one, but they found your box, and would we work on those boxes, like shoe boxes, and then have food in them. And then Valentine's parties was pretty exciting because you didn't know who's going to get your box. But different things like that at school. We had a lot of programs at school because PTA, and that was big stuff. And you got to go with your folks. You're not going to be home. So there was a lot went on downstairs there, and always the plays and always the singing thing. There was a lot of music. It's funny, I can't remember that teacher, isn't it? Because there was a lot of music, and we saluted the flag every day. And we sang the songs, the country. We learned them. That's how we learned all those early on.
And you mentioned being in the plays. You were the mother in
Yeah,
the
I was the
play.
mother with all these kids.
Do you remember any other plays you were in?
No,
No?
because that was the one. So I don't remember any other. And I must have got scared out after that and had to go learn how to speak in front of people. 50 cents a lesson for elocution to Miss Curran. Ride to town. And my dad would see to that. Isn't that something? And one day he goes, you and I are going to town, we're going shopping, and I'm going to get my first bought coat. Because my mother made our coats and stuff. Grandma was the seamstress. She was a professional, you know, Grandma Pfeffer. And wow, we're going to the goods store in Kenosha, and I get a pale green coat with fur collar and a muff to match. Man, this is, you know, my first, I'm like 12. So then Dad, now we go to Bliker and Tommy and we get you Sunday shoes. Sunday shoes. I got this long, narrow foot. And I just love, like that picture, those Mary Jane shoes. Oh, I can smell them yet. And so we get to Bliker and Tommy, and guess what's out? Those two-tone shoes, what did we call them?
Saddle shoes. Saddle shoes?
They're brown and green to match my coat. Can I have them? And you get your foot in the machine and you see that it all fits, you know? They had machines in, you stepped in and see. Yeah. Wow, what a deal. It was all matched up for church, you know, green and brown shoes, green and brown coat and muff. A muff? Keep your hands warm. Wow, the first thing, how you remember the first things you got? Depression, you know. So Grandpa died, you know, when I'm 9, Grandpa Pfeffer. So Grandma's going to buy me these new shoes. That's why I liked them. And we go around the corner, and I couldn't make up my mind between two pair, and I said to Aunt Barb, can we take 2 pair home? She said, yeah, but you'll only get one. Grandma will only get you one. So then there's the Mary Jane, what they call the Mary Jane patent leather slipper. I don't remember sitting on the front bench at St. Bernardine's. I don't remember one thing. I just kept looking at those shoes all the time. I was so happy with them. So they got me at the photo with them. It's something else. Then you got these two-tone saddles, like you say. Black, green, and brown. Oh, yeah. Isn't that something? Sure enough. So Dad was, so then he was really instrumental in putting all this, saving all this into heaven. But he didn't save Greg's train. That made Greg mad. I wonder why, don't it's the truth. Why didn't he? And so, you know, I suppose they could only afford one school photo, but you don't have a bunch of stuff like this from Greg. Nowhere. You got all the stuff. Isn't that something? So they put it all here, and that you can have if you want, because it's kind of, he made it from, I'm looking, and he turned out to be quite the artist too. Greg was, he never wrote a letter, but what he didn't draw a picture explaining things. You know, Greg was stationed out at California, out in the desert, and the dog had puppies, and Greg would write a letter and he'd draw a picture of the dog and the puppies. He was always drawing stuff. That's where you've got it. Tom draws and makes oh my gosh, everything. Diane goes, oh, we like a piece of furniture that Tom would make. He's busy with the university. That's amazing. Any more questions over there?
I had one
They're
last
very
question.
good because the health. I wonder if we did swallow a goiter pill, because my aunt got the goiter, see, and had to have operation. And took it. Yeah, that I can remember that very, very vividly. You got this big lump here in your neck, and they had to operate to get it out and take your voice away and everything else. Yeah. What else? We didn't have, we had the measles and that. We didn't have flu epidemic or anything. That was all before me. And this is far enough. Right? Right?
And then last, did you remember what the building looked like, if it was different than it is now?
I can remember how it was. They've still got the same hardwood floors, I do believe. For a while, it turned into a real estate. That's when I've come the first time to see it again, after a lot of years. And he said it was the same windows and the same floor and the blackboard and everything. And I signed a book. He had a book, and Howie Stam he said, I just got rid of the school bell. And I go, I'll bet Howie Stam got the school bell. That's where it is. And he said yes, because he lived on the road all the time and everything. He just come up and said, can I have the bell? And that's where it is, on the Stam farm of how he kept it, the school bell. That was important. And so he had a book, and he goes, sign it, because if the rest of them come, you can get in touch with each other. Never heard from a soul, except, and we'd heard from Howie Stam after. He was the only one, because he was my brother's best friend. Yeah, they were buddies. And Greg liked to be with Gene, the kids. We were next door, but we didn't want he didn't want the Palmer boys seeing him playing with the girls or anything. He'd go around the back and under the fence, and around like that. Because we were really, really good friends, and stayed that way. Jean Carnes wrote my mother a letter, probably now 20, 25 years ago, and she goes, I remember dill pickles and root beer. Well, my mother made the root beer, and we couldn't hardly wait for it to get ready. Grandma would too, and I said to Grandma one day, take the top off Tom, the big high ceiling at 450. Beer went away, couldn't wait. And we planted a little seed corn back in a corner on Tobin Road. We couldn't wait for the thing to grow up. Couldn't wait. But my mother so Jean remembered the dill pickles and the root beer. Her mother worked all the time and had a hat shop in Kenosha, owned a hat shop. We all wore hats. You didn't go anywhere without a hat. They're coming back, kind of. And then her dad was on the farm. So she was at our place next door a lot. So she remembered the things my mother made and wrote to her, Now I looked it up, and it looks like she's gone 5 years ago. So there's nobody around but me.